Welcome to Work the Left Side. I am hyped to announce tonight's guest. I am joined by the one and only Mr. Dylan Dyer. Sir, how are we doing? Are you good?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Mate, I'm 5x5, too blessed to be stressed. So, obviously, first of all, thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting to me.
No, thanks for having me, mate.
Dude, like I say, you was shouted out. I speak to, I like to speak to the Work the Left Side Tag Team of the Year 2024, the brand, as much as possible. Yeah. And they kind of pointed me in your direction. It's like, mate, you got to get Dylan on. You need to talk to Dylan. Dude's awesome. Let's get his face everywhere, kind of thing. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, Josh and Ryan, the good lads. I love them to bits. They're good to. I will be working with them first time this Saturday at Champions Hall, so that's going to be a good one.
Nice. Are you with them or are you against them?
No, I'll be against them. I'm tag teaming with Ace Wheeler, and then I've got against the Super Pals, Casey Carlisle and the Void. So I'll be going against them, and then obviously the brand and the tag team titles are up for grabs. But yeah, could be a bit of gold, Like.
Wow, I should have maybe rescheduled this for a few weeks, and I could have been talking to one and a half of the LWF tag team champions.
You might have been, yeah, you might have been. Yeah.
But no, obviously, that's the thing. I know both of those guys now pretty well. They came on. I don't know. Obviously, it's quite a close knit. The LWF. You guys have kind of got that market nailed down. You've got the audience coming in. That fan base. It's really loyal fan base as well. Because I know when the Lankadors have travelled and the brand have travelled, the fans kind of go with them. So it must just be like the atmosphere always seems really hyped in places like that.
Yeah, 100%. The audience are always amazing. It's like if even they get better and better. It's unreal. Like even with my first match, just getting booed straight away, just because obviously they could tell I was the bad guy. But it's just the atmosphere and the buzz that the crowd gives us. Like it's honestly, they don't. It is true what they say. They do not make needles big enough, for that type of adrenaline. It's amazing, honestly.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Kind of like I've heard it sort of said so many times. Like adrenaline is the best painkiller in the world. It's the best high in the world. I can kind of understand why a lot of people find it really hard to step away from it. You sort of see the veterans. In the the big leagues. They struggle to walk away. Obviously, Ric Flair's retired so many times. Terry Funk's retired so many times. Kind of thing. Yeah. It's like you said, you can't replace that with anything else in the world. I would imagine.
No, it's unreal, especially like Ric Flair. Like, how many times did he retire? Then, like, what was it? Fully retired at like 70, 78? Well, how old is he now?
I can't even guess, man. I don't know whether to like.
The guy looks like he's about 105. Honestly, but it's just. Like those genetics of that just make you look that old is just.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? Really. I'm saying it's unfortunate. It's Ric Flair, for God's sake. I'd swap places with him in a heartbeat. But that's it, man. Just that feeling, like I said, especially that's what. I've never been to an LWF show, but I've watched a lot of the footage. I've seen some of the matches and all that kind of stuff. I know Ryan sent me some of the footage, obviously, because I'm quite tight with the Hack and Slash boys. They've sent me footage of their matches from there. And it just seems, mate, it's such a community kind of thing and such just. But like sort of said, you get that reaction if you're coming out as a heel, and they know that straight away. You're getting them boos, and that must just that accomplishment would be like, yeah, okay. Obviously, they're booing me. If they're booing me, I've got them where I want them. They're going to react to what I do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's like as soon as I was like when I was the heel, just in that match with Casey Carl, it was just. As soon as they booed me, I was like, yeah, already got them. And then as they were booing me through the match and they were cheering on Casey, I was like, I must be doing a good job here because I must be doing something right here. But yeah, 100%. It's an amazing buzz. And amazing crowd. Always. Like, yeah, there's times where it's like there'll be about less people turning up, like especially at like certain mutinies. But even then, like that small amount of people, they give off a buzz. It's just they'll even be a good crowd. It's just, and it'll feel like you're just performing in front of hundreds, and it's honestly it's amazing.
It's not always the quantity; it's the quality. That's the thing. So, like, Liz's, obviously, we'll get the generic question, out of the way. Obviously, kind of, were you always like a wrestling fan from a young age? I've had so many answers to this question. I've had people get into wrestling on the back of a drunken bet, or they were childhood fans. It's something the parents did, or the uncles. Or what's your story on this? What made you take those steps into starting the training?
Well, really, so if let's go all the way to the beginning, shall we? Long story, but yeah, so when I started out, my grandma told me about wrestling, and that was like back with Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks. They're the only ones I knew back then. I've only just recently learned about Johnny Saint. I know I might get a bit of hate, but still, I'm still learning about like these old school wrestlers like from Britain. And their technique and their technical wrestling. But yeah, so it started out with like Big Daddy, Big Giant Haystacks, and worked its way into WWE. I started watching that, but obviously back then I didn't have WWE Network, so I was watching all the highlights on YouTube, just keeping track of it. And I just the usual story, just like in being in school, just like, oh, what are you watching that for? It's fake, and it's like, hey, it's sports entertainment, all right, so. But yeah, it's honestly this. I loved it. I loved it ever since I was a kid, and it's always been in my mind, especially when I was younger. I always wanted to do it, try out doing it when I was younger. Obviously, there was no gyms back then, but when I did, when I was coming out of the army, so I did my 4-year service. I came out, new job, new house, basically just a whole new life. And I'd already seen LWF before. And the way I saw when I saw it was I was watching the CM Punk documentary, Best in the World, and when he said LWF, the Lunatic Wrestling Federation, I had it on my phone, Lancashire Wrestling Federation, and he said LWF, and I looked down, I was like LWF, that's it. And yeah, I just said, yeah, I'll just message the Instagram, got with Amy. She then directed me to Paul, and then yeah, I just told her about like my MMA background and my years in the army, and then yeah, they were just straight away, come on, start training. Did beginners, only did a month of training, got my first show booked. So I think actually I started in August. Started training in August, so coming up to a year. Pretty soon next month. And then I got booked for November. So like it only took me a month of training, and I was immediately told, yeah, you've got this date. I was like, wow, I must be doing something right, So
Dude, that's awesome.
I know, yeah. It's I think what really bigged up for me is obviously like I was always wanting to learn. All the lads that were with me, they were the same. They always wanted to learn, especially we were all turning up to matches, shows that they were doing and helping like take down the ring and just that's it. We were just hungry for knowledge, and I guess that's what like put us up a bit more. Yeah, 100%. Like
that's it. I mean, yeah, you've got that eagerness. Obviously, that's going to make you kind of stand out. You kind of be like, if you're show willing and you show that enthusiasm, yeah, it paints you in a much better light. They're kind of like, okay, these guys are really eager. They want to learn. They're listening to us when we're talking to them, kind of thing. It's all going in. You're just a human sponge for wrestling knowledge, kind of thing. It's absorbing it all. So obviously, you mentioned there, I've spoken to a few people that have kind of crossed over from, like martial arts into the wrestling, or still do both kind of thing. And I'm going to obviously the obvious question is kind of thing, for a lot of people I've spoken to, like footwork, movement, that kind of fluid, that kind of comes a lot easier. It's not easy, but it comes a little bit easier than people who don't have that kind of MMA or martial arts background. You kind of bit more, you're a bit more safe on your feet.
Yeah, it's because you've just got that knowledge of like where to place your feet, and especially like doing throws. You're like, oh, I know this one. Like I've done this before, but it's learning the safer way. You know what I mean? So I'm not accidentally killing someone in the ring. So
I was going to say that's got to be the hard part. Is actually kind of holding back. So obviously you already know how to throw a punch. You already know how to do an elbow strike. You know how to ground and pound. But you kind of got to, you got to pull it back in and be like, oh, okay, I'm not actually trying to, smash the guy's face in. Let's just calm it down a bit.
I only had training. I'm not saying I was good. I only did like about a year and a half with it. But it was just one of that. I've just always been like that since I was a kid. Just like anything that interests me, I'm always hungry for knowledge for it. It's just. And it's like, especially, so MMA, I started when I was 8, so it was traditional jiu-jitsu. Got into high school, that worked into judo, and then it started with boxing, kickboxing, and then I found an MMA gym, and they treated me good. They were amazing. It was a place just in Great Harwood, Apex MMA, and they, 100%, amazing crowd, amazing fellas. They were great. They looked after me. But obviously I just wasn't in my I was not that good. I was just always a beginner, I was, even when we were sparring, I always got the shit kicked out of it. So I'm just there like I'm just a punching bag, like that's it. But I'm learning.
It's amazing what kind of you probably didn't even realize, like subconsciously, like we sort of saying about like the footwork and just being like just cardio and stuff like that as well. What kind of planted itself in your brain, and then when you start doing the wrestling, these things are like firing up, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a little bit. But obviously with the wrestling, you kind of, it's not just learning the foundations, the technique, and everything. You go into it, and you've got to create a character. You especially somewhere like LWF. You can't just come out and be Joe Bloggs. It's you've got to kind of get the audience hooked with a character, whether it be a good guy or a bad guy. Did you go when you first started? Did you have something in mind, or is it kind of just have you built it up from since you started wrestling based on what felt comfortable, what didn't feel comfortable, or are you kind of working more to suit your character, or is the character more to suit your style? If that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. So the way I've built the character of Dylan Dyer is based off my army experience, so my military experience, my 4 years in the army, just being a rifleman. But it's just like picking up like stuff like how sergeant majors treated people, how sergeants treated people, colours and lance jacks. And it's just looking like the way they go about their business, and then I was just like, right, well, let's just mold this into really that, like the Dylan Dyer, the whole idea I wanted to start it off as like this like British punk rock, like big British punk rock, like Sex Pistols. I wanted to start it off like that, but like, and Ozzy Osbourne kind of stuff. But then while I was training, I got up on the top rope, took a bump, like front bump, like from the top rope. But as I got up there, I was just like, "Bugle Major, sound the advance, very good, sir," and then fucking dived. And then they were like, "You're keeping that. That's it," like. And then I was like, "Oh, right. So this is how the character's being made," but it just feels natural, So I guess it's like everything that. Like everything that from the army is just flowing through. So it's just my aggression. I'm taking my anger out, but in a controlled manner. But
you're drawing on experiences.
Yeah.
That's two ends of the spectrum, though, dude. From freaking like military to punk. mate. That's like, that's
yeah, I know, because I just thought like, oh yeah, I'll make it somewhat like I'll be a face, and then as soon as this kicked in, I was like, oh, actually, I could be an asshole there, so.
That's it. You can be an arsehole. It's not your fault. It's a character. It's not you.
Exactly.
You've got free reign just to be an absolute arsehole to everyone and be like, yeah, it's fine. And after the show, you can be like, no, I'm lovely, really, mate. Come on.
Nah, it is good. Like, especially I've seen like people saluting. I'm there like correcting them and just like, hey, it's like that. It's right hand. Don't use your left. Don't salute like a yank. Don't put it across your forehead and stuff. It's just, awesome. It's like little. It's just having a laugh with it, and it is amazing. And obviously, it was a big part of my life. And sometimes I just try and think like, oh, it was shit. But then obviously no, I had quite a bit of positives from it, and that's what I'm trying to take away. And all that positive is being used into Dylan Dyer, which makes the character.
So you pull in. I was going to say you pull in obviously because with that kind of style as well, that kind of character obviously is very kind of posture, strict, very stern kind of, you kind of mentioned the old school wrestling, like Giant Haystacks, Big Daddies and stuff like that. You say you just found out, about some of the other names. Nobody's going to give you heat for that, by the way, because, my logic is, everybody's got to learn at some point, just because you don't know, at least you know now. Doesn't matter when you found out about it. It's all good. So are you kind of, cause that kind of character to me suits, that old school world of sport, that very sort of ground and pound, that very slow, methodical kind of just, I'm going to bend your arms, I'm going to bend your legs, I'm going to bend your neck, I'm just going to do, is that kind of, are you leaning more towards doing that kind of sort of thing now because of the character?
Yeah, trying to get like as very technical as I can get. Obviously not too, so it's like, because obviously these days it's just like people watch a full chain wrestling match and then they're just going to be sat there like, well, what's going on? So it's using chain, but to the right amount. And when I learned about Johnny Saint, that was when I went over to America. Obviously trained with Robert at Catch Point in Philadelphia.
Drew Gulak as well, yes.
Yes, Drew Gulak as well. The man, the coach. But yeah, no, it's there's a lad, Robert, he just like, do you know World of Sport Wrestling? And I'm just like, it's ringing a bell, I should know it. And he was like, dude, you're killing me. And I was like, my worst American accent. And he just sat me down in the room and just like put the TV on and was like, there you go, watch that. And then that just introduced me to like stuff like Johnny Saint and it's just like all these other technical wrestlers, and I'm just like, there is so much to learn here. Just it's unreal. It's amazing. It's just and people need to use it more, in my opinion. I feel like people need to use it more. Like not just all of it, just like pick like little bits. Like, hey, that looks good and stuff like that, and then just mold it into a match with obviously having your comeback and you shine, you come, you heat and cut off, and it's just, I know I said it in the wrong order, but fuck it.
Hey man, mix it up.
And then just put it all in together and make it work as one. And it's honestly, it's like a never-ending library. It's amazing. Oh, I love it.
I mean, yeah, because if it's used correctly, I'm going to kind of, you've mentioned, I kind of like that. Then when you mentioned, the coach, obviously, Drew Gulak, I know that's the thing. But you say the coach to me, I think Liam Slater, that's kind of like his thing. But we're talking that style as well. That's another name that shouts, screams at me. The pure wrestling kind of thing. But you're talking about using it in the right amount. William Regal for me is like the perfect definition of that. You're using that World of Sport style, but in a character form, working for the audience, getting the audience to react and stuff. William Regal is the guy that I would be like just watching over and over and over just to pick shit up, kind of thing.
Yeah. when I was a kid, watching WWE, William Regal and Wade Barrett, they were two big ones that I was always watching, just because they were like they're not far, they're not far from me. Like Preston's just about 30-minute drive away from me, and Blackpool's just an hour, so it's just not even that actually, just but it's still like how close they are. The same county, and I'm like, if they've made it like there doing that style of wrestling, surely I can. Like not even to get that big, but to make this a full time career. You know, it's just, I want this as a career. I want this as a legacy. Something that like when I get older, I probably have kids of my own. I'd be like, if they want to do it, I'd be like, well, right, you're following my footsteps, Roger.
Second generation Dyers. There we go.
Exactly. There you go.
Hey, that'd be awesome, because that's the thing as well. You sort of said, being that close to Blackpool as well. Obviously, I know you're working LWF and stuff like that, but it's got to be on the list, mate. You've got to want to work sort of, if you haven't done it already. I've tried to sort of look through, I was looking through your socials, looking at other shows as well, that you've been on, kind of thing. Blackpool's got to be, the place to work. It's got to be a dream sort of. If you can get a booking in Blackpool, that's got to be like a massive box tick.
100%. Honestly, I'd love it. I love it wherever I perform. I treat everywhere like it's a WrestleMania for me. That's the way it is. I love it wherever I go. Obviously we've got Champness Hall in Rochdale. That's where Big Daddy and the Giant Haystacks wrestled. So that's also a big place. But yeah, Blackpool. Even like when it comes to like different promotions and getting me down south, hell, I'll spend all week going up and down the country. I'll go Scotland. I'll go Northern Ireland. I'll go Ireland. Right, and then just all it needs is a phone call, and I'll just be, yeah, I'm over in America. I'm over in Germany. Like, just let me know. That's it. Just give me that. Just give me that DM. Just give me that call. I'm there, 100%.
That's the thing. I mean, obviously, it's clear to see. You've got that passion. You've got that drive. Like I said, you're not half-arsing it. You are 100%. Behind the wheel. You want to learn. You want to get better. You want to keep doing. You want to do this and just keep leveling it up all the time. I mean, obviously we need a Dylan Dyer on tour thing, kind of. I know the brand were on about wanting to sort of venture out and do like a little mini tour, hitting up different promotions, different schools and things like that. Is that something you've thought of as well? Just obviously, the more I speak to people, the more I hear, it's good to take road trips. It's good just to kind of get out of your comfort zones, hit a new school, even if it's just for one class, just to see what else goes on in other places, see what little nuggets of knowledge you can pick up.
Yeah, that is in the workings. All right. Hopefully, I'm thinking of maybe going down to Manchester, Future Shock, and then some point, try and get down south and train down there. But yeah, I do want to go Catch Point again in Philly, America. I do want to go again because they are amazing, honestly. The stuff that they do for a warm up, like we got the Pac-Man in the LWF, and they're just always doing their flippy bullshit. And I was looking at them like, oh, how do you do that and stuff? And then as soon as I went to Catch Point, and they were like, yeah, this is our warm up, I was like, what? And they just taught me through it. So it's like doing like just bits and bobs, and they taught me through it, and I'm doing it, and I'm like, how am I? Honestly, I thought I could never do like a handstand flip and land on my feet, a kick up. I've learned a kick up in LWF, but it's getting there. But like stuff like, and then jumping to the second rope, doing a roll. They're very like at Catch Point. It's like it's always something new. So it's not just that technical side. They've got that high flying side as well, and the way they do it and they go about it is amazing. I love it, and the fact that you can just pick it up like that. Like some people don't, but like the way how I picked up with it, I was just what. They even said to me like, "Do you do any high flying stuff?" I was like, "No," because I'm too scared. They were like, "You need to," and I was like, "Oh yeah, but it's just growing the balls. We'll just do it.
Do
That's
it.
it." Yeah,
Oh
like,
man. That's it though. I mean, if you get obviously, the character doesn't suit, you're not going to turn into a flippy dude, all the time, every match kind of thing. But if you can do it, get a couple of things in your back pocket, just to kind of bust out every now and again, like a special occasion. It's just like, oh shit, the fans are as much as the fans normally pop, or obviously not. I'm not going to pop because you heel kind of thing, but you can leave them flabbergasted. You leave them speechless, mate. They'll literally just be like, you pulled out one of these things. It's like, mate, that's just
100%. Well, so far what I've got is my over the top rope suicide dive, which is just grabbing the ropes and just, well, as I'm running, just grab the rope so I can push him down and actually just get over it. Yeah, just like straight over. That's all I got so far. I am wanting to do more. I probably will do more. I'll probably do some more in at Rochdale. But we'll see. We'll see what. You'll have to watch that one.
Yeah, man. I'll just. Is that when's that coming up? The Watchdale. When is the Watchdale show?
12th of July, this Saturday.
This Saturday, that's it. Yeah, you did mention it. So, but yeah, they say again, just to kind of touch back on that. I was talking about Blackpool. Yeah, you're right. So obviously the Watchdale location has a legacy. That means something. That's again, it's just being there, the atmosphere, the history. It must just be kind of walk in again. I can't imagine it being, but from a fan's point of view, I can imagine still just being that electricity, just kind of like that. I don't know. When you're walking somewhere and there's history there, you can kind of feel it. You just kind of like it's weird.
Yeah, it's like honestly, it is just unreal. Like last time I went in was just to like help out with the show. But the fact that I'm going to be performing with Big Daddy, the Giant Haystacks, formed is just like I can say I could go to my grandma and be like, "Hey, I've done this." Remember the Big Daddy and the Giant Haystacks you taught me as a kid? I've had a match where exactly they have. So just booyah.
I walked down the same freaking aisle way down.
Exactly, and I can walk down that aisle and say, "Jolly good, sir."
Mate, that is awesome. It's just, but yeah, I mean, like you say, the training thing. I just think it's awesome, to be working or learning from somebody like Drew Gulak. That's because again, I'm a massive mark for that kind of style. I know we've talked about it before, when you can have that kind of match, and some fans would be sat there and just, I know it's so Marmite, it's so 50-50. Some people, you either just hate it or you don't see the appeal of it or you get bored by it. But if you love it, it's just a human game of chess kind of thing, just watching people bend and move and just reverse. And Drew Gulak's just one of the best in the world for that. I mean, obviously him and Daniel Bryan, whatever name you want to go by, when those two guys were together, it was beautiful.
Yeah, well, when I first stepped into LWF, Paul came up and asked me, like, what do you want your star to be? Like name a wrestler, and like just like compare it. And I would say, I'd say technical, like that Daniel Bryan. And he was like it. There we go. So, but yeah, 100%. Yeah, just like Drew, like he's an amazing person. Like first time I saw him, I was just like running through, getting taught by Robert. He was teaching us drills, and then saw Drew on the other side of the room. And he just came up, introduced, like just said hi, like good to meet you. And finally, it's good that you're finally here, and just honestly just gave me the most welcoming feeling into that gym. I'm there just like standing on the rope, just like trying not to nerd out, like fucking hell. But yeah, the fact that I was able to go in the ring and give him the move and the drill that we've been learning, I was amazing. So it was just a nice simple one. You get in the ring, you strike them, send them off to the ropes, and then hit them with a big move. But I had to go. I think I went twice. So the first time I came in, boom, and then just gave him a big uppercut that they turned, and then it sent him out the ring. And I was like, it took he took that for me. I was like, I thought he was gonna like give me something. Then I was like, that's a win. But that again, like, you know, there's like from what I've heard, there's stories of like certain individuals who won't take a bump for like new guys and stuff like that. And the fact that he done that for me, like, just shows how much of an amazing person he is. And it's just, it's that unreal feeling that I've met someone and trained with someone who spent 8 years in WWE. It's unreal. I love it.
Dude, that's awesome. Like I say, yeah, to do that, mate, that must have just been, again, you know, we talked about it at the start of the episode kind of thing, where, you know, there's not a needle big enough, you know, you can't bottle this shit up kind of thing. Yeah, that high, that feeling of just being like, oh shit, you know, that guy's just, yes, you know, taking a bump for me, gone flying out the ring, made me look like $1 million kind of thing. And yeah, he doesn't have to do that. He could have taken it and been like, yeah, that's all right, you know, just do this different. No, my man just took it and went flying back. Like, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And it gave me that feeling. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Big pat on the back.
Dude.
Hoorah.
That's amazing. If you do get yourself to Future Shock, you know, I've been fortunate enough to speak to a lot of people, you know, that train there, work there kind of thing. And I know that's an amazing facility. It's an amazing school. Some of the talent they're churning out. And Sam Bailey, you know, is one of the best in this country kind of thing. There's very few better than him when it comes to teaching. You know, he's in like the top 5. So mate, I really hope you get over there, because it's invaluable.
Yeah, I will get over there. But Bowling Dave, they're my wrestling dads. 100%. They're my wrestling dads there.
Whenever I speak to people. Definitely. I know what the guys are doing there is, like, you know, like I sort of said at the start, you know, they've got the fan base. They're doing everything right. They're getting that audience. They're probably selling tickets before they even announce matches. You know, that's the kind of promotion LWR, and that should be any promotion's goal. Is, you know, you shouldn't have to announce any matches. The tickets should just go out anyway, because it's always the same fans just coming back over and over again, regardless. But yeah, whenever I speak to people, it's never. They all sort of say, you know, there's no besmirchment on their school. You know, their school is their first love. Like sort of said, you know, whoever's teaching them, it's like, yeah, you know, that's their mentor. But, you know, every now and again, you got to go on holiday. You got to go taste the food somewhere else. You got to taste the wine somewhere else. And then you can bring it back and be like, oh, that shit was all right. I'll bring some back, and I'll share my wisdom, you know, with my boys here, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just that again. I can't wait. It doesn't matter where it is, you know, just Future Shock, down south, anywhere. I just can't wait to like just go to new places, either in the UK or around the world, and just learn. That's it. I am hungry for knowledge, and this is my passion. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life until I'm 90. You know, so.
You got to be, you'll be around longer than Flair was, for your passion even more. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, then going forwards, you know, there's obviously no doubt. You know, I think I speak to some people, and the passion kind of just comes through the screen. I get hyped because you're so hyped, or you know, somebody else is so hyped. It's kind of contagious. It's like I was saying this about. You know, I was talking to Joey Slade a few weeks ago. He's the prime example for just, you can talk to him about wrestling and he physically starts to shake with excitement. You know, he's just that eager to talk about it and just loves it. You know, I'm getting the same vibe from you kind of thing. So I'm just like, when I talk to people like that, I'm always kind of like, mate, I need to check in, you know, we need to do like a part 2 at some point down the road in a year. You know, and in my head, I'm like, I'm going to speak to this guy in a year and I'm going to be like, mate, this show is awesome. This show is awesome. I can't believe you fucking debuted here. I can't believe you won this belt, kind of thing. And I'm just kind of like, I really hope, you know, we get to do that with you, kind of thing. Because I just think, yeah, you're going to be too hard to contain. I just think you're going to go everywhere.
Well, 100%. I hope that too. I hope the next time I see you, I've got one belt on this shoulder. I got title. Sorry, I've got a title on this shoulder, title on that, title around my waist. Titles on the arms.
First belt collection, stand the light.
Exactly, you know, just be standing there like Troy Ryan. Like how he has it.
Big meaty boy. But yeah, so obviously, yeah, you know, also talking about, you know, just training LWF, like the character work. We talked about it before, you know, working heel, having the fans in the palm of your hand kind of thing. For me, the more I talk to people, the more they tell me stories about stuff. The hardest thing for me, if I started like wrestling, if I was doing the training and everything like that, the psychology, that seems to be, you know, the aspect of telling a story during it. Yeah, the whole psychology, you know, of making stuff mean something. Which I guess, you know, that's the advantage of working catch is those guys, you know psychology like the back of their hands. So I'm hoping, you know, obviously you picked up a lot of shit over there while you were there.
Yeah, I picked up a bit, but I've still got a lot to learn and all that. So practice makes perfect.
That's it. You know, that comes with the experience, because when you're in the ring, again, I'm only speaking from this side, you know, it's thinking about what you're doing, making it look natural, making it flow. But then you're also constantly in your head as well and be like, okay, why am I doing this? What does that mean? And yeah, it's just absolutely, it blows my mind. That's why, you know, I've got nothing but respect for everybody who steps in the ring and does what you guys do. It's just, but are you still able to watch, you know, wrestling as a fan, or do you kind of find yourself just studying, you know, now if you're watching something, you're like, oh, I could use that. Oh, I could use that.
Yeah, there's moments where I'm like obviously like before I knew all of this, it was all like, oh wow. But now it's like it goes like, oh, that's good. Might use that. Oh, might get that. Oh, that looks good. And then it's a wow. You know what I mean? Like what was I'm trying to think now. What was it? Yep, WrestleMania 41. CM Punk with Paul giving him the low blow. That was a big, you know, that was a big wow to me. I didn't see that one coming. I honestly didn't. And yeah, but that stuff, like especially like matches like that, just brings out the 9-year-old or the 6-year-old, sorry. And again, especially when he's Fireburn came on with the little video with everything that he did, and just felt like a kid again. And that's what I love about wrestling, is just it makes you feel young.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not saying that I'm old, but it's just I'm pretty sure that people can agree, like people who are older than me, like they can agree, like whenever they watch wrestling, it just makes them feel like a kid again.
Yeah, it's just that excitement. It's just that pleasure, that sort of, it's cool, man. It's just good versus evil. It's larger than life characters. It's dynamic. It's the music. It's the whole. I mean, we talked? So yeah, you know, we talked about the world of sports stuff earlier as well. But before you sort of went into the LWF, that's another thing. When I speak to people, you know, some people are massive fans of British wrestling, which is another reason they get into it, and then other people kind of don't know anything about it, just decide they want to, you know, start wrestling, start looking at schools a lot, start looking at what's around them, and they're kind of like, oh shit, there's fucking loads. You know, there's so much going on in this country with wrestling, and they had no idea, kind of thing. So, did you know about the British wrestling scene before you got involved, or is it just kind of all come to you since you stepped through?
It's all come to me when it all came to me when I was in the army, and I just thought, yeah, sorry, this is what I want to try it, at least have it as a hobby and just try it. Because like when I was a kid, like growing up, it was just everything was down south for me. You know, I couldn't find anything. There probably was, but I wasn't really big on the internet. So I didn't really know. But like as soon as I saw the opportunity come up, like surely it's like, well, couple. It's a bit of a trek for me, but I will always manage my time and make sure I'm down there for training, 100%. Whether it's for promos or for training, or if they just need help with anything, like I'm there. Or like I said, I'm only a DM away or a phone call away. That's it, right?
Dude.
And that's me.
That's the thing, yeah, because, you know, like I say, it's just mind blowing. Like sometimes, you know, I know what I've been speaking to people, and they're like, oh, you know, yeah, you know, I watch WWE, I watch AEW, TNA kind of thing. I really want to be a wrestler. Looked into it, and they're like, it's like, you know, they're stepping into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's just like so much awesomeness all around, and it's like we had no idea. And then they get into it, and they get, you know, they go down the rabbit hole, and it's just like, it's the amount of stuff going on in this country wrestling wise is absolutely mind blowing. So it's just
100%, and it's only getting bigger.
yes,
That's the thing. Like, you know, it's just it's amazing. Like, I would love to think like the UK would be a competition to America. So, like,
I think it is personally. So barring the big two, you know, obviously barring the two sort of big ones, numerous promotions we've got over it will rival any promotion in any country. You know, that's just me being, you know, not even biased, but it's just. But I think obviously, you know, the social, like YouTube helps. You know, there's so many great promotions now. Like you can go on YouTube and just watch, you know, Rev Pro, Progress, North, Wrestling in Newcastle, freaking True Grit, obviously, Infamous. It's just, so I think that's just helped. It's just, well, it's making the character work more important as well. Like, so sort of like, you know, cutting a promo. You know, if you'd have been around like 10 years ago, promos weren't probably as important then because I don't know, the story aspect of it, or even characters weren't even as big 10 years ago. You know, it's kind of gone full circle. They were like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And obviously characters are huge again now, which is awesome because that's how it should be. But yeah, you know, the art of cutting a promo is, I think that's invaluable.
Yeah, well, I do need to work on my acting skills when it comes to promos. So, yeah, 100%.
You said that before, though. You know, you're willing to do it. You know, so you know, cutting a promo, doing this again. It's just like being in the ring. You know, you're only going to get better the more you do it, kind of thing. And especially with things like Instagram and the reels, and I think it's, you know, it's just important to get the footage out there because, you know, you're building yourself up. Sorry to, you know, Ryan and JD for this, but you know, you're a brand. You know, you're building yourself up, and you want to get that exposure. Yeah, Instagram's a great platform to do it because it's free. Get people out there, you know, just get as much shit on there as possible so people can see what you're up to and what you're doing.
I aim to do it and I aim to impress.
That's not me just telling you what to do, obviously. That's just me speaking from experience, you know, looking at what other people do, looking at what other people do. And I just think, you know, I'm just again, some people hate it, some people don't, but I'm a massive advocate for, you know, you've got this thing that you can use. It's free. You know, you can get thousands of millions of eyes, you know, on yourself.
Oh yeah, why would you not? Yeah, you're not the only one. Paul at LWF, he's very big on it. You know, he's always like just get these promos done. You know, it's just like because like obviously it builds the show up, but it also builds ourselves up.
Yeah,
you know, because then like when we go, like you said, when we go to another promotion, it's most likely to get us booked because of that promo. Because like obviously if they say like, oh, if they see that, oh, he's willing to do a promo, then yeah, sweet, have him. But yeah, that's really it. I just hope like the more and more I do it, the better I get. I know I will. And then it's just obviously the more and more opportunities and doors open up. So
dude, that's the thing, man. It's just finding that balance of, you know, you've kind of got to kind of pimp yourself out. You know, you kind of got to put yourself on the market and get people, you know, put yourself out there and let people sort of see what you're doing. And man, the amount of times I hear the word networking from when I speak to people, it's crazy. You know, it's like networking is 70% of British wrestling. You know, I know I've just been talking about promos and what you can do and all that kind of sort of stuff. But it seems like networking, you know, is more important than even like the promos or the in-ring work kind of thing. You know, people need to see your face, and you know, shaking hands, and just that's the part I would suck at. I hate that shit. You know,
it is like a bit of a gut feeling, like but then I'm just more like just chuck yourself into it, just do it. That's it. That's all I have in my head. Is just fuck it, do it. Fuck it, do it. Just that's it.
That's it, man. Yeah, you've got to have that kind of, ability to kind of put yourself out there, get in people's faces, let them know who you are, shake all the hands. It's just, again, it's just another aspect of wrestling, which I find, if anybody who can do it, mate, I salute you, and I'll tip my hat to you kind of thing, because it's not something I could do.
Johnny Bush, yeah.
Right, there you go. But mate, obviously Dylan Dyer on tour, got all this stuff coming up. But, again, I've got to be careful how I say this, because obviously I don't want to besmirch Ryan or JD, but they have had those belts for a while now. I think it is maybe time somebody just, help them out with the luggage, mate. They must be getting tired of lugging them around all the time. So you'd be doing them a favour.
Yeah, well, if me and Ace Wheeler are on the same page, then we'll see. Hopefully we can, push each other's egos aside and focus. So, but yeah.
Tunnel vision, man. Tunnel it. Because that's the thing as well, though, because obviously what we're talking, that match is in a few weeks.
No, it's this Saturday.
It's the tag match this Saturday. Is that the one that's like? Oh, so that's that. So you're going for belts in Rochdale. So I knew they had a couple of shows coming up, but I forgot. I thought that was the one after.
No, it's all right. No, it's 12th of July this Saturday, Champions Hall in Rochdale.
So not only you're walking down the aisle, performing in the same location, you're challenging for a title in the same building.
Yeah.
Mate, that's just, and that is you're challenging for that title less than a year into your training. Or less than a year into your journey. Sorry, since you started training.
Yeah, obviously I've had my opportunity like a lot sooner with the Red Rose Championship against West Danger, and that was at another big show at Lancaster Town Hall. So that was another one. That was like I think roughly about 400 people. But, the fact that it's that the thing when you're in the ring is like everything's just blurred, like you can't hear much. I can't hear the crowd much, but like when I came back out, I got told, lad, you got about 3 "This is awesome" chants during that, and I was like, fucking hell, like unreal. But the fact that again I got another title opportunity at this Saturday at Champions Hall. Not even a full year into my career, and 100%. Like I said, as long as me and Ace Wheeler are on the same page, that's what I'm fussed about. If we're on the same page, let's do it. But yeah, I believe that we will. I believe that he'll deliver, because Ace is he's a good guy. He may act like it may be all like all the time, like constantly in your face, but I have a feeling he's all right, So.
He'll do all right on the night. But yeah, mate, I mean, obviously, that in itself is a massive, for me, again, that's a massive accomplishment. The fact that it's not even your first title shot, like you said, you had one previously, because title shot, for me, again, there's seems to be 2 mindsets, but for me, titles mean something. That's even challenging for a title is a massive deal. It's a massive, there's so many people they could put in that match or they could use to fill that slot kind of thing, for it to mean something. The fact that it's you going for the title, the fact that they see you as a valid contender and somebody the fans would be interested in seeing, either beating the guy up or getting beaten up, either way, it speaks volumes for what you've done, what you've achieved so far. So, yeah, I'm all about hyping those moments up. I think they mean so much.
Yeah, thank you, Alison.
But yeah, so there you go. Well, insert the Massa Ciampa backpack gif. So just obviously, mate, keep doing what you're doing, because you're getting these opportunities so early on, dude. I'd say over the next 12 months. Yeah, I'll speak to you in 12 months' time. I'm calling it now. I expect to see it with 2 or 3 belts. Just being like, yeah, there we go. You've got a good worker, good character. Someone the fans can enjoy. Sort of being near for whatever reason to boo or to cheer, whichever way you want to take it. You know, whether you eventually want to go face, you know, you want to go heel. It's just, yeah, you've got championship. I think, you know, obviously written all over you for me personally. So.
Oh, thank you so much. I believe it too. Like, you know, just not just one, not just two, all the belts.
All the belts. Mate, that's going to be that's the Dyer tour. It's the Dyer belt collecting tour. You're just going to go up.
Exactly. 100% just going to go all around collecting titles after title.
Just got pictures of you standing under like street signs just on country roads.
Oh yeah,
Another belt. Like Lancashire, Yorkshire, fucking, you know, Midlands. Like yep. Belt.
Gonna be like DJ Khaled. It's gonna be like DJ Khaled up in here. Like another one.
another one. Mate. Oh, dude. Honestly, mate, I'm just really, really hyped because I'm always really intrigued as to, you know, how the journey is going to go for people, and I just think it's going to be awesome. So, but yeah, you know, I said I'd keep you for about an hour, which I have done. I've just kind of put the time. I'm like, oh shit. So, but let people know where you are, what your Instagram is, so they can obviously hit you up, give you a follow, keep an eye out, ready for when, you know, the belt collecting begins.
So yeah, my Instagram account is Dylan. Dylan_Dyer, PW. So that is Dylan Dyer, professional wrestler.
PWS. So obviously, my boy. I'm
pretty sure I said that right. I can't even remember my own Instagram name.
I want to say
that shows how bad I am.
I was looking at it earlier. I was like, I'll try and remember that, just so I've got it in the back of my head, and I've just gone totally.
Yeah, there we go. Dylan.Dyer _PW.
There we go.
Jolly good, sir.
That's the one. Give the man a follow if you're not doing so. Obviously, my boy Ash, who runs our Instagram, will tag you in the episode link when it gets uploaded anyway. So, but yeah, if you're not following Dylan, please obviously give him a follow. Keep an eye on what he's doing. If you can get to Rochdale, if there's any tickets left for this Saturday, get yourself there.
Yeah, there's tickets. Get buying. Come on.
Get the tickets. Go show some support. Go be a part of history, you know, stepping into that building alone. Any British wrestling fan should want to feel that energy when they step in there. You know, it's got so many moments from years gone by. It's just, it's just the good stuff. So, and obviously I'll say thank you for watching this. You know, hit like, subscribe, share, comments, all the generic stuff I always ask you to do. Keep your eyes peeled. Plenty of more stuff coming up over the next few weeks. You know, we've got Ernest Boggs, we've got Tim Strange, we've got the 05, we've got plenty of other people coming up as well. So don't miss out on any of those. And yeah, you know, thank you for watching. And remember, always work the left side. And we'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.